China has employed a new tactic in its legal war against Taiwan. On June 21st, China's Ministry of State Security and 5 other ministries jointly issued a piece of legislation titled Opinions on Legally Punishing Taiwan Independence Diehards for Splitting the Country and Inciting Splitting the Country, threatening the death penalty for what they call serious crimes. In this regard, analysts in Taiwan believe that under the cross-strait division, China's new law only has symbolic meaning. Given its broad and vague definition of Taiwan independence, it's feared that everyone in Taiwan is endangered. As high as 97% of people in Taiwan, including former President Ma Ying-jeou, may be criminalized by the Chinese government, and Taiwanese people are called on to avoid traveling to and transiting in China.
一段时间以来，极少数台独顽固分子
For a period of time, a very small number of Taiwan independence diehards have been carrying out separatist activities, which have seriously endangered the peace and stability of the Taiwan Strait and seriously damaged the common interests of compatriots on both sides of the strait and the fundamental interests of the Chinese nation. To hold those who attempt to split the country and undermine national unity criminally responsible is an inevitable requirement that laws must be followed and violations must be punished, and a necessary measure to safeguard national sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity. On June 24th, Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te spoke at the presidential office. When asked by reporters about China's new regulations and other related topics, Lai first expressed his condolences to the people affected by the recent torrential rains in southern China. He then expressed his views. Actually, I want to stress that democracy is not a crime. It's autocracy that is the real evil. China has absolutely no right to sanction Taiwan's people just because of the positions they hold. What's more, China has no right to go after Taiwan people's rights across borders. I also want to call on China to face up to the existence of the Republic of China and have exchanges and dialogue with Taiwan's democratically elected, legitimate government. This is the only correct way to increase the welfare of people on both sides of the strait. If this is not done, relations between Taiwan and China will only become more and more estranged. The crimes of secession defined in these 22 opinions include: first, initiating and establishing Taiwan independent separatist organizations and planning action plans. Second, attempting to change the legal status of Taiwan as part of China by formulating, modifying, or abolishing relevant regulations on Taiwan, or by promoting referendums, etc. Third, promote Taiwan to join international organizations that are limited to sovereign states, or conduct official exchanges and military contacts with foreign countries, and use their powers to wantonly distort and falsify the fact that Taiwan is part of China in the fields of education, culture, history, news media, etc. The opinions also clarified the punishment for the crimes. For example, ringleaders or those with serious crimes may be sentenced to life imprisonment or fixed-term imprisonment of more than 10 years. Among them, those who cause especially serious harm to the country and people and the circumstances are particularly bad can be sentenced to death.
台湾是中国的一部分，这是无可辩驳的法理事实，也是国际社会的普遍共识。国家依法惩治台独顽固分子、分裂国家、煽动分裂国家犯罪，具备坚实的法理基础和充分的法律依据，是捍卫国家主权、统一和完整的应有之义，也是维护两岸同胞共同利益和中华民族根本利益的正义之举。凡是以身试法的台独顽固分子，不管其身在何处，国家执法司法机关都将一追到底，依法严惩。记者附泰驻点的。
In response, Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council retorted in a written press release on June 21st. The Beijing authorities have absolutely no jurisdiction over Taiwan, and that the 23 million Taiwanese people enjoy inalienable freedoms, democracy, and rights under the Constitution of the Republic of China. Taiwanese people should rest assured and should not be threatened or intimidated by the Beijing government. China's new regulations have no binding force on Taiwanese people. They will only provoke confrontation between people on both sides of the Taiwan Strait, seriously affect the exchanges between people on both sides of the Taiwan Strait, and will not help cross-strait relations. Why did the Chinese government issue 22 opinions at this time? Scholars from all walks of life in Taiwan expressed their opinions. China's promulgation of the opinions is to produce the effect of killing the chicken to warn the monkey in Taiwan. Based on this law, 90% of the Taiwanese people may be implicated. The Office of Taiwan Affairs under China's State Council has taken such a big action for two purposes. First, it's to be domestically justified and to show its toughness towards Taiwan. Second, Taiwan President Lai Ching-te has just been in office for a month, and by taking this action, it's to declare that the CCP has strengthened its efforts to deal with Taiwan's independence. Wang Huning, the chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference (CPPCC), proposed this year to take strategic initiatives against Taiwan. Now we see that the CCP has been carrying out unilateral actions intensively, such as unilateral legislation. These are all manifestations of a strategic initiative. It has only one purpose, which is to publicly judge you and humiliate you, and to make Taiwanese feel afraid through the stifling atmosphere of the courtroom, because it has no substantive meaning. If Taiwanese don't go to China, will it be possible to apply this penalty? No. If the Chinese government wants to attack Taiwan, it must find an angle. Be it nationalism, civil rights, people's livelihood, or democracy, none of it can be used to criticize Taiwan, because Taiwan conforms to the world trend. Democracy, politics, and separation of powers are what all sovereign countries stand on. Livelihood of people in Taiwan is far superior to theirs. The only thing it can grab on is nationalism, and it uses fake nationalism to attack Taiwan. That's the only angle it can use to attack Taiwan. It's the so-called fight against Taiwan's independence. Back then, when it messed with the Kuomintang KMT on the mainland, it played the game of nationalism, saying everyone had to fight against the Japanese. The KMT said yes, we all had to fight against the Japanese, yet the CCP developed and grew itself at their back. Did the KMT learn the lesson? Nope. After that, it said that we had to fight against the Americans. Then the KMT followed suit and started to doubt the US. Isn't it a joke? So, let me say it again, my main argument is that over the years, the CCP has known that it can't compete with Taiwan in terms of the three major principles of nationhood, civil rights, and people's livelihood. So it needs to find a topic to criticize and accuse Taiwan of, or else it will be embarrassed in front of Taiwan, right? Therefore, it uses Taiwan independence as an excuse to criticize Taiwan and to label everything in Taiwan as Taiwan independence. Your election is fake because you want Taiwan independence. Your name is fake because you want Taiwan independence. It can only use Taiwan independence as the excuse to attack Taiwan. That is why I said that it's part of the CCP's grand strategy directed at Taiwan. If it doesn't accuse Taiwan of going independent, what will it do when common folks see that the people of Taiwan can criticize the government, monitor and arrest government officials, and so on? Will it be happy? No, it won't. Taiwanese people have also expressed their views.
We are the same country. Why do they regulate us? It's a different country, so we don't have to care what they say. Trust our government to protect our own people.
It just wants to provoke us, so we just have to do the best we can to communicate a little bit more. Don't keep violating us or keep harassing us. It's really annoying, to tell you the truth.
The best way should still be to communicate. Mainland China has very strong communism. We are a democratic country, so of course we know the difference and stay away from it.
As long as we don't follow Xi Jinping, allowing Taiwan to be taken by China, then almost all Taiwanese, except those who are pro-Beijing, are guilty of Taiwan independence. Why? Because the Republic of China, or ROC, has been in Taiwan for decades, right? From 1945, when it retreated to Taiwan, that is, when the ROC came to Taiwan, the CCP has been talking about the two-nation theory. The two-nation theory started with Mao Zedong because he witnessed the birth of the People's Republic of China in 1949 in Beijing, and the two-nation situation already existed on that day. And who is the father of the Communist Party? Lenin. The father of our nation was Dr. Sun Yat-sen, which is totally different from mainland China. He wanted to realize a national republic in Asia, right? Taiwan is now the most advanced and democratic country in Asia. What about mainland China? It's a totalitarian state where one individual has the final say. Is there any democracy? He is most scared of democracy. He oppresses the people. You can see that people can't even withdraw money from banks anymore. This is what we have now. A single person wants to impose his will on the entire world.
In fact, there are many cases like this before, where they come up with the laws that they can't enforce. But the Chinese government just wants to do it. No matter if it's to Taiwan or Hong Kong, it does the same to the US. There are many such cases. Are there any ways to enforce those laws? No. Do people care? No. The CCP continues to do it, but people don't care. People treat the CCP like a clown.
According to Radio Free Asia on June 24th, in response to the 22 articles of Taiwan independence issued by the Chinese government, the Taiwan Chinese Asia-Pacific Elite Exchange Association held a symposium. International law scholar Song Chang-en said that it is part of democratic politics and freedom of expression guaranteed by the international human rights treaties to criticize different views in political discussions because of simple political advocacy or political activities. Therefore, China's criminalization of speech or political activities violates international human rights law. Wu Sezhi, director of the Chinese Research Center, a Taiwanese think tank, believes that the new regulations have increased Taiwan's external risks. Currently, 69 countries around the world have signed mutual assistance treaties related to civil and commercial law and criminal justice with China, of which 65 countries have assistance treaties for criminal justice. He said, "Signing mutual legal assistance doesn't necessarily mean that these countries will carry out relevant extradition or repatriation. This depends on the closeness of China and the country. Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam have all repatriated Tibetan activists back to China through mutual legal assistance." Lin Tinghui, former Deputy Secretary General of the International Law Association in Taiwan, pointed out that China introduced the anti-secession law or the criminal law before. Beijing authorities want to add the enforcement jurisdiction, creating both so-called judicial jurisdiction and executive jurisdiction. In his opinion, the content of the new regulation shows that its target is not only Taiwanese, but also people all over the world. For example, if a US government official supports Taiwan or Taiwan's membership in an international organization, or if the US Congress passes a bill that is friendly to Taiwan, this could be incriminated. The CCP tries to unilaterally enforce its domestic laws globally, and then use territorial or international jurisdiction to expand its ideology. If it succeeds, it's going to be a major blow to the international community's human rights or international law. In addition, the office of the spokesperson of the U.S. State Department issued a statement on June 22nd that the American Institute in Taiwan and the Taipei Economic and Cultural Representative Office in the U.S. held a consultation meeting in Taipei on June 21st. The U.S. reaffirmed long-standing support for Taiwan's meaningful participation in the UN system and the international community, including the WHO and the International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO.